Hey guys, finally managed to get back to doing this. I had previously reviewed and given highlights to the first season of The Gifted, a show that I've really been enjoying, and I've been meaning to do the same for the second season, but a lot of things have gotten in the way, and I've not been able to do that. So I'm going to be, going over episode by episode, a basic summary of the episode and personal highlights. Now, before I do that, let's talk about something that happened recently this week, which is the unfortunate passing of Stan Lee, who created the X-Men. For 19 issues in the 60s, he wrote the first X-Men comics. As I've previously talked about in another video, the 60s era may not be the most well-known era for X-Men comics. It wasn't very their highest seller. The comic eventually got canceled. But for these first, 17 issues, Stan Lee was the writer and, providing us with early classics such as, Magneto, the Danger Room, the Brotherhood, Sentinels, Juggernaut, as we see with the second volume, and, elements that are true of X-Men comics even today, especially the fact that these mutants are they're outsiders and not accepted by everyone. And again, it's very sad that he passed. I'd actually been worried about him for some time. His wife passed away a year or so ago, and when he was uploading videos, he didn't look very well. He was in his mid-90s, and so he finally passed away. It's sad, but on the other hand, he lived a good life, and he provided us with a lot of entertainment. When everybody else says, he provided us with good entertainment. Now, let's get to the episodes. And for right now, I'm just going to talk about the first episode of this season, which is Emergence. Now, in the first season, all the titles, most of the letters will be in lowercase, except for the letter X, as you can see here. Now, for this season, all the titles, all the letters are in lowercase, except for the letter M. Now, here is my prediction of what could happen. If we get a third and fourth season, in the third season, the capital letter will be E, and in the fourth season, the capital letter will be N, so that the entire series will essentially spell out X-Men. That's my little theory there. Anyways, season 2, episode 1, Emergence. And we start off with Reva Page, who's part of the Inner Circle. And she is, right away works against those who are against her plans, who don't agree with her. And, she takes them out by using her powers. And, with the Frost Sisters, she kills a lot of people that are in the Inner Circle. And, she's played by Grace Byers, and I've really been enjoying her on this season. She's been doing very well, and hang on a minute, getting my notes together here. Anyways, the character's been, very interesting. I really like her in this series, and the actress, plays her very well. Now, anyways, Polaris, Sage, and Andy, they're with the Inner Circle. They've joined them, and 6 months have passed since the last season, which is very typical between seasons. A certain number of seasons have passed. And so we start off with Polaris is pregnant, and she's thinking about past events with Marcos and how they were going to name the baby Aurora. Now, at this time, Sentinel Services, they're still hunting down mutants, and they're right away we see them, right about to capture some mutants, while Marcos and John Proudstar, they're trying to rescue some of these runaway mutants, while Blink and Lauren, they're, also aiding escapees by going underground, and they save a girl named Krista, who is going to appear in later episodes. Now, Kate is working at a clinic, and she's tending to mutants, wounded mutants, and so on. While she and Reed are working in secret, and they're working, in fact, a little secret room at this clinic, and we presume this was set up by the Underground. It's kind of one of those things that's kind of weird, but you kind of go with it. Anyways, they're working at this clinic, and they're thinking of how they tried to search for Andy, but have come up with nothing. Now, Polaris, she's been taken to a warehouse to give birth. While Eclipse, he's been trying to find her, and he's also been getting in touch with old Underworld contacts. And he's kind of done with being careful, because he's worried about her, and he wants her back. Polaris, she's still kind of unsure of her situation. Riva is still reassuring her. While, we see the Frost Sisters, they're securing the warehouse, mind controlling a guard and stuff like that, and they buy off a doctor so he can aid with the birth. Now, Blink and Thunderbird, they're looking after Krista while, they're living together. Blink, she's worried about how she would appear to people, because she's using makeup and contacts. Krista is worried about her sister and doesn't want to leave without her, because doesn't know where her sister is right now. Blink is still very concerned about Marcos. Meanwhile, Reed, Kate, and Lauren, they're trying to eat together, but it's not, the typical family dynamic they've been having. They're kind of very distant and despondent. Reed, in the meantime, is having some headaches that are really worrying him. At night, Lauren is having dreams of meeting Andy on top of a building. And in this dream, Andy right away wants to use his power with her. And she resists him, so much so that she falls off a building, and that wakes her up from this dream. Kate, she's very overeager with finding Andy. And she, asks to aid from Eclipse. Now we see the warehouse has been cleared off, and a birthing chamber has been set up. And Polaris has a bad feeling about these events. She asked Andy to look after the baby and make sure no one takes advantage of the child. Kate, Eclipse go to this drug addict named Wire, and he has the powers to surf the net, but he's living in a disbanded place. His brother Graf, is also a drug addict, has the same powers, and Eclipse goes to Wire and wants to find out information about the Inner Circle, but Wire doesn't really want to do it because of how dangerous this is, and doesn't want to mess with the Inner Circle. Kate outright threatens him, holds him at gunpoint, and forces him to find information, which he reluctantly does. Thunderbird has found out that Krista's sister may have been picked up, and we don't know her fate at this moment. Reed is taking pills, he's trying to deal with his headaches, and he's having these sort of surges of power, we're not quite sure at the moment what's going on with him. he's talking to Kate, and she just can't deal with that Andy left. That Andy had left them. We see Polaris giving birth, and she's having power surges, and that's affecting the neighborhood where they're at, which is Washington, D.C. Eclipse sees this, and he gets in the car and races off to find the source. Polaris is having a block, and the Frost Sisters try to help her out. And they do this by making her think of a world where mutants are accepted and free, and they're able to live out in the open. And Polaris thinks about her daughter, being out in the open. So she's able to give birth without difficulty. And then we have this power outage in DC. Just then, Eclipse isn't able to find the source, and he gets angry and very upset. And at the close of the episode, we see that Polaris has named her child Dawn. And that's how we end this episode. And again, that's just, I want to give, summary and some highlights, for people to review, and some little insights about these episodes, and hopefully you'll enjoy that. And again, once more, thank you, Stan Lee, for the, everything you created, especially the X-Men. You've very missed, but, very loved. Alright, thank you guys, and take care.